Hello, everyone. I'm here with Daria Ruzika with Off2Class. I'm here with her today to do a couple of things. Number one, I'm really excited to introduce her formally to the community because you may have seen her in comments before. But I also want to talk to her a little bit about the importance of regular check-ins with your student to measure progress. So Daria, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Chris. This is an honor.
Yeah, well, it's an honor for me too, and because you and I have not had very much of a chance to speak to each other, and I think it's important that other people that are in the community are able to see some different faces. So why don't we start just by having you talk about yourself? Tell me a little bit about your professional background.
Well, I kind of had a dual professional background from the very beginning. I was always teaching English, and I gradually started to go into materials writing, editing, and the two kind of went hand in hand, and one reinforced the other. And then I ended up doing more materials writing, and then I went online, and I happened upon Off2Class, and I'm excited to now, put my expertise to use here.
So how long have you been in the ELT world?
I would say about 20 years from the very beginning. First, it was just I was traveling and I was working, as many of us start off. And then I started working in publishing, not related to ELT, but then it made sense that I use my expertise from ELT in the publishing world. So I did that. And that kind of took off. And that's what I enjoy doing the most right now.
Okay. Okay. So what do you do with Off2Class? What's your role?
I assist James in any way necessary, the full range of editorial work, some writing. I'm going to be responding to feedback with anybody who now offers feedback with the green feedback buttons. So you'll be hearing from me. And actually, I'm very excited about that part of the job because I'm excited to have the interaction and just, see what people are seeing and becoming really a part of the community.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I just want to ask you a little bit about the importance of reviews. So what do you think you could say about as from your perspective, first as a teacher, and then getting into materials creation and editing? Why is it so important to check in and have regular measure progress with learners?
I guess it's just to make sure that all students are on the same page or approaching the same page. We have a placement test and, everybody places into a potential level, but you might have some students who struggle with something more than others. And reviews as such allow a teacher to just keep track. So once a unit is completed, it's a good idea to use the reviews to, just touch base, see, okay, this is working, this isn't, that student, maybe I'll give him some extra exercises from another resource on our site. So it's just, a wonderful way to touch base that's specific to each unit in the step-by-step curriculum. We have reviews coming out for the 66 units. So after you complete a unit, you can give students this review to do. There are vocabulary items, there's grammar, and it'll just inform the teacher, what the next steps should be. Do we review? Do we need to do more? Are we clear to move on? Do I need to adjust anything in any way necessary?
So in case you're unfamiliar with what Daria is referencing, I did a little bit of an introduction to this recently, but Off2Class very soon will be releasing review modules. And so those review modules are connected to the units in the step-by-step curriculum. So once you assign a certain number of lessons, the lessons in each unit to a student, you will then have the opportunity, in addition to the homework assignments, which are have always been part of the step-by-step curriculum, you'll have the option to assign your student the review, which will cover all of the skills that the student has learned in that given unit of the step-by-step curriculum. You'll be able to give the student feedback just like on the homework, but unlike the homework, these reviews are 100% automatically graded. So while you have the opportunity to give feedback, you don't have to actually do any of the grading of it yourself. So this is a really exciting thing for Off2Class to be releasing. And I think about myself, I have tried on my own as a teacher in the past to make some sort of like reviews to assess student progress, and it's really hard. So why is that so hard, right? Like why does it take so long to come up with good reviews to measure students' progress?
Well, because you need to look at all the material you've covered, and you need to create, be it exercises or prompts for writing, or anything you need to do. It just takes a lot of time. It just requires careful perusing what's in a particular unit. And if you're doing a multiple choice test, which these are, because they're, as you noted, they're self-corrected. So you need to have one possible answer for each question. So there's a lot to there. It's just time consuming, like any aspect of teacher planning, as you well know, Chris. So it's just a matter of making your lives easier, as your lives, teachers' lives easier, and providing with yet another resource for assessing student progress, and just having it like that, done, moving on, or not, or going back and doing a little bit more work, but the guesswork is taken out of it for you.
So I really, one thing that you said that really stuck out to me was making sure only one answer is correct. That is always what I found the most difficult part of doing any sort of review with a student, because I would come up with a question. I would work really hard to come up with like a great question, what I thought was a great question, give it to my student, and the student would answer it in a way that still made sense, but was not what I was looking for, or like, didn't like reinforce that particular skill.
Right.
So once that started happening to me, I realized that this was not something that I was going to be able to really do myself. So I'm really excited to actually use these reviews with my students.
Mm-hmm.
So I've looked into how to write better questions in order to assess student progress. And one thing I keep coming up against is this idea of something being pedagogically sound. What does it mean to you for a question to be pedagogically sound, and how does that, could you like translate that into like language that I can understand?
Pedagogically sound would mean that it just works in terms of the grammar. It works in terms of whatever was being taught. When you're given any kind of questions in a class, be it exercises, or if you're dealing with a test or a placement test or quizzes, you want the questions to just do it all for you. No gray area. You want it just to be clear as day. This is what I want to know. This is the answer I'm going for. So our job, and it's an ongoing job, is to make these questions as clear for the teacher and for the student, so that the student comes, does the review, the teacher submits it, gets the score back, and there's not a lot of question what works and what does not.
Okay, I think that's super important. And one thing that I've also experienced is that sometimes the more advanced the learner is, then it's the easier it is to ask questions, because they already have a lot of the skills and understand a lot of the nuance to be able to answer the question that you're looking for. But I have found that the more beginner level that a learner is, the more difficult it is to write a good question. Have you experienced that, and do you know why that is?
I think it goes both ways. When you're testing a beginner, you might think, oh, well, these are easy. You're just, I can only test the verb be in this section, so I'm just going to write questions for that. But you're much more limited in how much vocabulary you can use. You really just can say, Mark is from France, or whatever it is. And you can just blank out is, and there's only that many words that have been taught at, let's say, an A1 level.
Right.
So it does get hard because there's only so much you can test. With more advanced students, there's a lot more you can do, but you might also, there are a lot more, but there are many more things that students might bring in from their experience with English, and to second guess what you're asking. So with more advanced, I would think that more advanced questions are a little harder to write, because you have to not just, let's say if you have a multiple choice question, you don't want to just ask some kind of nonsensical combination of words to make it, to make them choose the right answer. You want to think, okay, well, I've heard students make this mistake a lot. Or you might even look it up. What's a common mistake, when you're teaching a certain grammar point? So I think it takes a little bit more thought. And you'll also, with an advanced student, you'll have a student come back and say, well, but, this is the second conditional, but it's actually the third. Why is that? They'll come with a very valid point why they think it is. There might be the teeny tiny difference that explains why the correct answer is correct. So it's a preference. Sometimes you have to give more context. For the vocabulary items that we wrote for the reviews, you'll notice that they might be 3 lines long before you get the questions in the multiple choice, because you want to really present a situation that makes it clear, which word we're going for. And sometimes, and again, with a higher level student, you just might have a subtle little thing that determines which is correct, but that's appropriate, let's say, for a C1 student versus an A2 student who's just still kind of trying to get a hang of present continuous and present simple.
Okay, that's a great counterpoint. Now, one thing that just occurred to me to ask you, you've been doing this for a long time. What is it about this work in this field that you enjoy? What is it that drives you to do this, and why have you stayed with it for so long? Because definitely you develop a lot of expertise, and you're getting a lot out of it.
Well, I love grammar, first of all. Disconnected from teaching or anything, I just think grammar's a pretty cool thing to play with as it is. So I've always enjoyed writing, and just manipulating grammar. So when I started teaching, so the teaching of grammar became a fun thing to do, as did writing, because and especially with ESL students, because they can, when they write, their mistakes emerge. So it's not just a question of, well, today we're doing the present continuous, everybody has to do it. I always enjoyed seeing what the students know. So I would start a class and say, okay, now you're going to write a paragraph describing your hometown, or whatever. Let's say whatever grammar point I was aiming to elicit, or describe your routine in the present, or describe your routine in the past. What things did you used to do? So I would present a paragraph and see if they know a particular grammar point, and then build on that. And it's just fun to work with for me. So it just made sense then to move on from the classroom to material writing and editing, and just making the best possible materials available for students. So it's an enjoyable task for me.
Okay, I feel like in 2020, grammar gets a bad reputation.
It does. Yep.
So that's something you've experienced also.
Yeah, and my ear hurts when I hear certain grammar used. I used incorrectly with me, and things like that. But language evolves, and I'm not particularly a stickler. Well, this is how this is what it has to be. Of course, spoken grammar has changed. The current generation has a whole other amount of lingo coming in from social media, from technology. So it is, you have to be flexible with that. But there are certain things, you can't talk about the past conditional in a past conditional in the third conditional, let's say, in any other way than that. So there's certain rules that you have to teach a student. You want to express yourself, you want to express a wish that something didn't happen. There's only one way to do it. So there are particular ways. Not there's one way, but there are particular ways to do it. So it's kind of nice to see some rules just have to be followed.
Absolutely. That's a conversation I often have with my students, specifically regarding conditionals, because they say, this is hard. Why do I have to learn that? And I say, listen, if you want to connect two different things together with one being dependent on the other, this is how you have to do it. And sometimes there's just not another way to say it without having to say in 20 sentences what could be said with just one.
Exactly. I sometimes joke. Recently, I've started really thinking philosophically about grammar, and I'm thinking it would be we all would be so much more present if we just had the present tense. We would live, in what we are doing right now, whether it's present simple or present continuous. It's these other tenses. I wish I had not done that. Oh, this is regret. And why are we going there? And then I wish I had, more money. Then you're wishing for the future. That's anxiety. So I often just joke to as I'm thinking in terms of, grammar, I apply it to various aspects of my life. It's fun.
Well, I think that is indicative of somebody who has spent their career specifically thinking about language, right? Like
Yeah,
then you get into places where how does language inform my beliefs? And like, because these
exactly.
things, you choose language based on your personality, but then the thing that you choose then also informs your personality and how you approach life, which is one of the really interesting things about language. like there are other languages, for example, that do use a lot more present tense, but they have other things in the
That's
language that
interesting.
they
Yeah.
focus on. Yeah, right. So we could go really deep down that rabbit hole. I don't want to. And is there anything that you could tell us that is coming up on Off2Class, and maybe something that you're working on that's on deck for the future?
Yes, my other project, in addition to, well, the reviews are wrapping up. We're doing the last editorial touches on it right now. And I'm currently working on updating the index, so it actually includes the step-by-step curriculum. And that's a pretty important part to, completing the picture of all the lessons being represented. So it'll make uh, searches more complete and more usable. So
What is the index?
the index is what you use when you need to find a term, uh, to see if Off2Class offers you a lesson about that. So if you want to teach the present continuous, you're going to go into the little search bar on the homepage, and that pulls up information like, do we have anything in the present continuous? And I can assure you that we have tons.
Right.
And it'll link you to different lessons. It'll link you to, right now, the index links you to all the lessons on the site, but not the step-by-step curriculum. That's most recently added. So that's the latest and perhaps very important thing that needs to be added now to the curriculum, so to the index. So I'm working on that right now, just kind of connecting everything to every term, so that now when you look up present continuous, you don't just get the lessons that are the standalone lessons, but you also get every time in the step-by-step curriculum that the present continuous is mentioned. The step-by-step curriculum also has, for those of you who know, writing sections. So we've also tagged writing sections with write, so that a teacher who might be wanting to teach writing would just put in write, and it would pull up for him or her all the different types of, writing an essay, writing a paragraph, writing a review, whatever you might want. So it just gives you more searchability of our site, and just, making sure you can use whatever it is you need, because you may not need the full curriculum, or you may be teaching the full curriculum, but you need something in addition for that one student, like I was saying before, that needs a little bit more work on a particular topic after you've, for example, used the reviews at the end, and you're like, okay, well, everybody's good, but I'm just going to assign this one student a few more exercises because they need a little bit of help. So the index is going to be an exciting complete part of the site now with the step-by-step curriculum.
Yeah, because even just for myself, right? If I type present continuous into the search, I'm going to get the present continuous themed specific lessons from the single topic lessons. I right now I don't know where the present continuous exists in the step-by-step curriculum. So by adding the index, I'll be able to put in a topic like present continuous, and it'll show me, and even in the step-by-step curriculum lessons, where I can find it.
Yep,
Wow.
exactly right. So it'll just make it more usable, and you can supplement. Like teachers, we know sometimes it's a matter of following something step by step, like the curriculum, which is amazing, and sometimes you just need to find something a little extra. So we're constantly working on making your lives easier. Essentially, that's all we want to do.
Yeah, I think that plays a big part in that, and I also think that the reviews will play a big part in that, because I've had students before who have been really long-term students, and after a while, it's kind of hard to look back on, well, what have we done? How can I make sure this knowledge has been really integrated? Because I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I've had experiences where I will work on like a challenging topic with a student, like maybe a more difficult grammar point, maybe something like a conditional, the structure, and then we'll finish that. The student will have it down, and then it's like we'll move on to something else. And then even a short time later, if I say, "Hey, let's review these conditionals," like it wasn't taken in.
Right.
So I feel like having reviews would be really helpful for a situation like
Definitely,
that.
definitely. Yep, that would work.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay, that's really exciting. Well, Daria, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation. I'm really glad you could be here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so, as we have kind of been discussing, we're going to see very soon some more official announcements regarding the Off2Class reviews, which will allow you to send your student a review activity for them to complete once they finish a unit in the step-by-step curriculum. There will be more about that official release coming very soon. So
Awesome.
thanks so much for watching. Daria, great to have you.
Thank you. Bye, Chris.
Bye-bye.